Hi guys, Kevin Tharp here. Today we're going to either take something that's really complicated and make it simple, or take something really simple and make it complicated. And I'm not really sure which I'm going to do yet. I'm hoping that I take something really complicated and make it simple. What we're going to be talking about is the sales funnel. So when you're designing websites, you should have some kind of a goal in mind when you start to develop those websites. As you see in the images here, there are a number of, I've done a site or a search for a sales funnel site. So what we're looking at is websites that, or information about websites that use the sales funnel or lead funnel method. And when you start getting into analytics, one of the things that they do is they track people through your website in the funnel towards a goal. So that's the one thing that all of these images are that you're going to see, and there's a lot of different ways of explaining this. What all of them do is they take a really broad area, and what they're trying to do is move you down towards a goal. Whether it's making a purchase or signing up for an email letter, or just gathering data about you, generating leads, whatever it is, there's a goal to it. And so the funnel is described that way because what it does is it takes a broad spectrum of people that are first contacting you or recontacting you, and what it does is it moves them towards that goal. So let's take a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Amazon.com as an example, and I'm going to way oversimplify this because theirs is a very, very complex site. And what I'm trying to do is just get across the principle of how do funnel-based websites work. So this is a website. You'll notice when you look over here that I am not signed in. So this is if just anybody came to Amazon.com with a similar browser history to mine, you're going to get sort of this generic information page. And so that's the first place that might be a site on the sales funnel, might be part of that sales funnel. So if we were going to represent that in a drawing, and let me go ahead and bring over, I'm going to use a Visio drawing here. That could be this page right here, just a plain and simple home page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and draw this out to show you what I'm doing. So what their goal is, ultimately this is their goal. Their goal is to get me to go to the cart, and once I'm in the cart, they want me to make a purchase. So they don't know who I am yet because I'm not signed in. They may have cookies and have an idea of who I am, but I've tried to minimize that as much as possible in this particular case. So what you're looking at is just a page, and what they've done is they've populated this with popular stuff that's likely to appeal to a broad range of generic viewers. Okay, so that's their typical homepage. Now, here's an example of where I am logged on to their website. And again, the URL is the same, Amazon.com, but you'll notice that while there are some similarities, there's also some very real differences in the stuff that they are trying to market to me. So in this case, I am signed up, so they have an idea of who I'm at. And what they start doing is they start presenting items that are, for instance, related to items that I viewed. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get me to move from this home page to another page. They want me to move down the funnel. So this becomes a second page. While the address is the same, and I'm oversimplifying it here, but while the address is the same, what they're doing is they're presenting a different page of information to me based upon my previous preferences. So in my drawing, I represent that as just a page, and I'm going to call that a logged in page, or you could call it a customer page, whatever. The idea is that here's a page that's presented when I am logged in. Now there's different ways that they can get access to me. For instance, if I go to email, I've purchased a book from them previously. In this case, it happens to be Blood Rights, which is book 6 of the Dresden Files. If you're into modern fantasy and crime sleuthing kind of things, it's a pretty good series. I endorse it. Anyway, getting back to it. So here's a page that this is actually in an email. So if I click on this or click on the information in here, then it's going to bring me to another location based upon the knowledge of the kind of pages and sites that I'm used to doing. So here's another way of getting access to me. So I'm going to bring back up my Visio document, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another page, email based or email linked page. So I only get to that page from my email. And we can continue on. Here is, if you go looking for Kindle books, here's another place where you can get access. Similar to the other stuff, because they still see that I am logged in here. They know who I am. So here's another page that I can get access to. So if I was looking for Kindle books, or here's another way that they can get access to me is if I just did a search in Google, this case, for Dresden Files, and I went to the Amazon.com page, here is yet another one. This happens to be a front page for that particular book. Okay, so what you see happening is that in more sophisticated sites, you start seeing more and more pages that allow them to, in different ways, target me to move me down that funnel. Okay, and you can have dozens or perhaps thousands, hundreds of these kinds of pages the more that they know about you. So what their goal is to eventually get me to a page where I make a purchase. Okay, so before I get to that purchase, what I have got to do is I've got to add something to the cart. So I need to make sure that I have got a shopping cart. If I'm doing e-commerce. Now, there are a lot of times when people will abandon their shopping cart. They'll get this far down and not make the purchase. In those cases, they may, the next time you come in, they may know that you've been there, and they may choose to direct you to a, hey, you've abandoned the shopping cart. You know, do you want to buy that thing that you are interested at? So what happens is you start getting all kinds of ways where they can get you into this broad section of the funnel, or you're a lead at that point because you've somehow interacted with them. And what they're going to do is they're going to try and move you through a series of pages that get each level. There are fewer and fewer pages, and what they're trying to do is move you from whatever location you started to this shopping cart and ultimately to the purchase. So let me go ahead and put the connectors in here. So your page starts looking something like this. Not your page, but your navigation architecture starts looking something like this, where there's sort of a broad section of pages leading you to a narrower group of pages, which leads you ultimately to a micro goal, and then ultimately to the goal. And what these are is each of these pages, each of these points along the path are pieces of data that are collected about you. So what they start doing is, for instance, in here they already know who I am. That's a logged in page. So they already know who I am. And every page that I visit from there, they're going to track that. And they're going to use that information so that the next time that I come to their site and I come in and I'm logged in, they're going to be able to use that information to start marketing to me related to items I've viewed. So they'll then, based upon the information that they've gathered in this pathway that I've gone through their system, it generates more and more data about me, about my interests, about how long my purchase cycle is. And they're going to know already from data that's gathered from thousands and millions of other people that the purchase time, for instance, let's go back and look at those Dresden File books. When you go through, these are not huge books. I went through 6 or 7 of them over a 3-month period. So every 2 or 3 weeks, they might try and find a way of sending me an email to suggest the next book in the thing, or they might tell me frequently bought together. And so customers who bought this item also bought. What this is doing is this is gathering data from a lot of people. And this is how the modern web works, is they take whatever information they have about you in whatever way they're able to gather, whether it's through your login on a page, an email link, a search. They might put a cookie into your system, which is just a snippet of code that tells them, it gives them a unique identifier of who you are, even if you haven't told them your name, and they're able to start tracking their way through you. And it generates all this data that allows them to start comparing and analyzing your use compared to other people and make recommendations that are going to lead you down this path towards ultimately making that purchase. And that is the first goal of the site, is for you to make that purchase. And so when you have done this, you've gone through that sales funnel. What they'll do after that part, and I'm going to rearrange it just slightly here to give myself some more room, is that they will, after you have made the first purchase, the strongest likelihood of you making another purchase is if you come back again. So what they're going to do is first off, they're going to thank you for your business. And so after you make your purchase, they're going to send you to another page. It might be to confirm what you've done. It might be to thank you for what your purchase. It might be to say, hey, while you're at it, you might also want to come and look at this other book that similar people are interested in, and that brings you to yet another page that they can use to market you. Because ultimately, that is the goal, is to find ways to keep you going through this sales funnel again and again and again. I think that takes a very complicated situation and narrows it down to something simple. There's also a lot of other places where they're going to cross-sell. And when you go in and start looking at the websites, you'll notice that they try to upsell you. It gets you to add, if you buy a tuxedo, they get you to buy the tie. If you buy Magic the Gathering cards, they might want to sell you a container to carry the cards. Whatever it is, they're always looking at ways of taking that sale and adding more to it, or if it's not a sale, finding ways to convert you to a sale, whether it's for the item you looked at, a related item, or a completely unrelated item. And that, in the simplest simplification that I'm possibly able to do, is the sales funnel. And if you look, what ends up happening is that you've got this funnel. You've got this funnel that starts over on one edge, and So if I get a proper tool there, and what I'm able to do is sort of show you why this is called a funnel, because it brings you from a place where there are a lot of interactions that may be lower quality interactions, but they're moving you towards increasingly higher quality interactions. They know more about you. They have a better chance of getting you to actually make that purchase, which is the goal of the site. And that is the sales web funnel.